Oh my gosh, dude! These
we moving on to list, baby.
Yeah, go ahead.
We're moving on to the list, man. We're talking about top 5 noir films. This includes neo-noir, which is noir films are, you know, back in like the 40s, you know. The black and white, the artificial lighting, the femme fatales, the hard-boiled detective stories, good shit, man. And then, you know, the neo-noir, which is like after like the 70s and after. They changed it up a little bit because, you know, they're using it in color, so obviously it doesn't have the same aesthetic. Sometimes a film will come around and it will, just to kind of like pay tribute. But they changed things up a little bit, took some liberties with the genre, and they're everywhere. They're everywhere.
Yes,
so we're going to talk about some of those. And they come in all sorts of... Like, I was going through, like, They Shoot Pictures. They have 1,000 film noir section. And they have, like, a little bit of everything. And some of those films, I'm like, I don't even know if I'd consider them film noir. They might have, like, an element or something like that, but they don't feel like a film noir film. But yeah, so I got a pretty cool list. I think so. Some stuff that we have never talked about before, which is always fun. And
I don't really got a lot. I don't really got a lot going on in this list. I gotta be real with you. So you just go through your honorable mentions here. I'm sorry.
Of them?
Yeah, go ahead.
Holy shit! I have 14, bro.
Oh, just go through them.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Because I'm actually doing something real quick, so ignore me.
Yeah. So I mean, you can obviously like chime in if you like the film or something like that. So we're gonna start off with a neo-noir film, Seven.
Yeah.
Which is like the darkest shades of humanity, man.
Yeah.
They're following a killer who's been killing people based on 7 sins, and it's got a very famous ending. It's real fucking good. These two films go hand in hand. Les Samurai and Drive, which is like probably the coolest examples of like neo-noir films, and Les Samurai is a very famous French noir film.
So like this is a list that kind of it can be like any type of noir basically.
Yeah. That's why I wanted to send that to you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Next up we have The Killing from Stanley Kubrick, which is kind of like a hybrid of like a heist film and a noir film, and especially for its time, I felt like that ending was very bitter.
Yeah.
It was really good though, real good. Don't need to really talk about this one too much because I bring it up literally all the time. Mulholland Drive, also Blade Runner while we're at it. You know, that's definitely there.
Yeah.
But another one of his films that I really don't get to talk about too much is Blue Velvet. And I think that's like
that's
a very,
good one.
very good, streamlined noir film.
Yeah.
Definitely not his more intricate films, but definitely I think it's one of his better paced films, and like it's a very good starting point for Lynch, I think.
Okay. Nice. Go ahead, keep going. I don't got really any of my honorable mentions.
We got The Third Man, which I've brought up a bunch.
Yep.
Probably like that's like got the best villain almost like ever put to screen.
Yeah.
He's so good, especially with the Swiss cuckoo clock conversation that he does. It's like it's got its own Wikipedia segment for just that scene. Next up, Chinatown.
Yo, wow! I'm surprised it's not on your list.
Dude, Chinatown, I think still has 7 beat on probably like the most fucked up ending from a noir film.
Damn.
But there's like absolute purpose behind it. No, it's not. This movie definitely deserves a rewatch. To be on my list. But I think my list is real fucking solid. I'm gonna be honest with you. But of course, it's my list, so of course I feel that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Next one, I never really can. I mean, I guess I consider this to be noir, but like I wasn't gonna put it on here until I saw it on the list. And I was like, yeah, fuck it. And that's Vertigo. Oh yeah, okay. Would you consider that?
A noir, kind of?
Very strong emphasis on the femme fatale.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think it's really... That movie is very interesting because it's not black and white, but I think as purposeful as the lighting can be and how much lighting can say in film noir, I think the same can be said about color in Vertigo.
Yeah.
So they just replaced the use of color is really strong in a lot of scenes. Next up, we got two that go hand in hand. You Only Live Once and Scarlet Street, which are both Fritz Lang's take on noir films.
Right.
Apparently, that's not his best. Those aren't his best work, but they're very good. Actually, You Only Live Once has Henry Fonda in it as the lead. It's very good. So this next one is. I feel like this is the rule book, the essential rule book on film noir, and that's Detour. I think it's very straightforward, very very blunt, and it does everything that they should do, pretty much. And then for the last two, they're kind of on a fine line for these for the genre. I think. First up, we got M, which is another Lang film. But I consider that film to be the first psychological thriller probably ever made.
Okay.
It's got a really crazy ending, especially for its time period. Wow, I didn't really think you could do something like that. But the best part about it is before criminology was even a thing, this film comes out and it really just narrows in on a lot of the characteristics of killers. And when in the 60s that... had really become a science. You kind of see that a lot of the things that the film said were dead spot on. So that's really awesome for sure. 30 years before its time. And the last one I have is No Country for Old Men.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah, I can see that too. I saw it on the list and I'm like, you know what? I can kind of see it. Man, is that film that for M to show this is how a serial killer operates. This film shows the complete opposite, and its killer has no pattern. He's probably the most unique villain maybe ever. Very, very cool. And that film just really makes some bold choices with its story beats. So I love No Country for Old Men.
Yeah. All right. So sorry, I had to go in on this.
Yeah.
This hashtag Christian privilege bullshit.
Ooh, is that what you were doing?
Oh yeah, I put in my 2 cents because I know what I'm talking about. As a guy who's actually read the Bible, I feel like I might actually have some stuff to throw in this conversation. And by the way, they spell privilege wrong. If you're gonna attack Christians on Twitter, at least spell privilege right. Oh my gosh, Priviledge.
There's no vowels in between that.
Why look? Fucking hate Twitter. Okay. Okay.
Well, that was the end of my honorable mention.
Yes.
So.
All right. Best neo-noir. All right.
Or noir, just noir.
Or noir in general.
Yes.
Or noir in general. I gotta be real with you, man. I have not seen a lot of noir films.
Okay.
In general.
Okay.
So a lot of it might be more neo-noir for me, but I'm gonna try, okay? I've been meaning to just boost my noir. I actually just bought The Fade Out by Ed Brubaker, that graphic novel. It's one of the best, apparently, noir graphic novels out there. So I'm trying to really get into it, into it more.
Yeah.
My number 5 is L.A. Confidential.
Okay. With
Kevin Spacey, Guy Pearce, Nicole Kidman, all those guys. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but I remember really loving it when I saw it. So, yeah. And by the way, I meant Kim Basinger, not Nicole Kidman. Sorry, I get those two mixed up. Also, Russell Crowe is in it. I really love the directing and the style of this film. This one is probably the most noir kind of film. It very much pays tribute to the old school noir films of the 40s. And 30s and 40s, and so the style is a lot more noir, but people are calling it a neo-noir, so I guess I would have to classify it as that. Yeah. I just really like that.
Pretty much everything that's comes out after the 70s.
Yeah, it really...
it really doesn't even matter.
I remember L.A. Being a real character in this film, and it tells the story. I got the thing up here just so I can be more fluent with it. Tells the story of a group of LAPD officers in 1953 and the intersection of police corruption and Hollywood celebrity. I mean, if that doesn't sound like a noir movie, I don't know what does. So, I remember really loving this film. So that had to be my number 5.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen it?
I actually have not.
It's a good one. You should watch it.
I definitely really have it on my list.
It's really good. Mm-hmm.
We'll get there.
Yep.
My number 5 is Orson Welles' A Touch of Evil.
Okay, yeah, that's one I actually haven't seen. I've seen the opening shot, obviously.
The opening shot is so good.
And, you know, they ruined it, too, because they put credits over it. So there's like
I have the reconstructed version.
Yeah, there's like 4 different versions of it.
Yeah.
Why does Hollywood always want to take amazing filmmakers and just destroy their vision, dude? I don't get it.
I don't either.
Anyway, Touch of Evil.
Yes, it's fucking awesome. One thing that I think makes a very good noir film is definitely the writing. Like, you have to have complex characters.
Yeah.
Because they're basically anti-heroes.
Yeah.
For most of it, and sometimes a little bit more than that. Sometimes your main character can be a villain, but in this film, it's kind of interesting because you see during the long take somebody plants a bomb in a car, and this takes place between the border of United States and Mexico, and the bomb goes off in the United States, but people, especially the cop or the detective that's investigating it from the U.S., he definitely thinks, and you cannot change his mind, that it came from Mexico. And so it kind of becomes like a blame game and kind of like a morality questionnaire for yourself. It kind of lets you participate, definitely, making your own judgments. And I really like some of these smaller characters that really don't have any purpose in the film's plot, that just kind of like show up, and it really narrows in on the theme of injustice, because it has, like, you know, a blind woman who has a sign that says something like, if you're mean enough to steal from the blind, help yourself. And I really like a lot of these small characters that exist in the movie, and it's just a really cool, like, mystery that ends up becoming like a question for yourself to decide who really is the villain of this thing. Because it's a movie that really lives up to the title, A Touch of Evil. Everyone has a touch of evil, but some have it more than others.
Did you watch all versions, or how many versions?
There's actually the one that I have just has the theatrical and the reconstructed.
Okay.
I don't think there's that many more versions.
Okay, because I remember Brendan has a Blu-ray of it, and it has all these different versions. It might just be those two. I'm not sure. I don't recall, but
yeah, I definitely watched that version because that's the.
You haven't watched the theatrical one?
Fuck no.
Yeah, I heard it's bad, but I would like to compare the two. It would be pretty interesting.
I always wanted to do that, but like I feel like some movies like.
True.
What's the point?
True. All right, my number 4 is one of the most stylized neo-noir films of all time, directed by one of the most influential directors for me, personally, because he really helped me evolve my filmmaking style, and that's Robert Rodriguez, Sin City. That is one of the most stylized, like, noir films I have ever seen.
Yeah.
And it is crazy. I mean, what more could you say about Sin City?
Have you read the graphic novel?
I have not.
I was about to ask, like, how does it compare?
I hear it compares, like, exceptionally well, because what Robert Rodriguez did was he took Frank Miller's graphic novel almost beat for beat, and that's why he filmed it mostly on green screen, was because he wanted to experiment and say, let's take this noir graphic novel and literally translate it page per page on the big screen.
Yeah.
And he did. There's voiceover, it's black and white, there's selective color, there's it's an anthology that with multiple intertwining storylines. It's a bit dark for your typical noir. A lot of blood.
Yeah.
A lot of stylized kind of genre moments here and there. But still, it captivates you.
All these characters have like superpowers too, it seems like.
Oh yeah, no, but it's so stylized. Like, if you want to see a stylized movie, this is it. And I thought, but it's so cool and it was so unique. And for its time, for 2005, it was groundbreaking and it was original. No one has seen anything like that before at that time.
What did you think of the sequel?
I haven't seen it.
Really?
Brian really likes it. He says it's really good.
We saw it together.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. He the thing is that the hype for a Sin City sequel died down at that time, because it was like 10 years, right? It was like 2015 when it came out. I remember people were clamoring for a sequel when it came out in 2005, but I think it was too little too late at that point from a public perspective.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, we've seen this before, blah, blah, blah. So it might have just been like a wrong place, wrong time to release it.
If I remember correctly, it was just us in the theater.
Really? Yeah. The hype for it was done. It was over. But overall, what did you think of it? Because I know Brian really liked it.
I like it. I like it. It's not as good, but it's pretty comparable. The main story, the one that takes place like the longest amount of time, is easily the weakest though. But some of the smaller ones are really good.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I hear they replaced Clive Owen with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Is that true, or is he just a different guy?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt is a different character.
Okay.
If I remember correctly.
Okay. No, I got you. All right. Or no, Josh Brolin. Josh Brolin plays Clive Owen's character.
Yes.
Yeah, that's who it is.
Yes.
Is there a reason for that, or is it just a recast?
It's a recast.
Oh, okay.
They also recast. I mean, because of Michael Clark Duncan passed away, they recast him as the guy from Allstate.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
That was actually a cool choice.
Yeah. He was in Goodfellas, wasn't he? The Allstate guy for like a second.
I don't remember. I've seen that movie a bunch, and I don't remember that.
He was only there he was like a cook. I can't remember.
Then, yeah, maybe, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that's my number 4.
So my number 4 is probably the most, like, renowned one of all time, I guess.
Double Indemnity?
No. Neo-Noir.
Oh.
Taxi Driver.
Oh. Okay, yeah.
So Taxi Driver is...
Well... can I just stop you right there?
What's up?
My number 2 is Taxi Driver.
Your number 2?
Yeah. So I'm just letting you know.
Okay.
I thought I was on number 3, but I'm not. I totally skipped over one. Spoiler alert!
Spoiler. Yeah. I was
like,
wait. What are we doing?
Yep.
So yeah, Taxi Driver it's awesome. If you want, I'll let you...
Yeah, no, I was figuring we could talk about it together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's another really good character piece one.
It is, and it's interesting to see the mindscape of Martin Scorsese at the time, who, by the way, is one of the best filmmakers of all time. And he also has one of the best editors of all time, just saying. No, it's interesting to see like his mindscape at the time, and it's easy to look back, especially for people who have never lived through that time period, and we just experience it through film and stuff. We look back at, you know, the 70s or 80s or whatever with rose-tinted glasses. Mm-hmm. It's really cool to see a perspective of the 70s that was like, no, dude, this fucking sucked. You know what I mean? Like, the world at that time was not a good place. And it was interesting to see that type of mentality on film, which was something that we didn't see before. It was dark. It was gritty. And I like how the film, by the way, like really adds to the grittiness, because I think it was shot on like, it might have been 35 but also 16, I believe, and you can see it. It's like that grain really adds to like the griminess of that film.
Yeah. And
the score by Bernard Herrmann is
so good.
So good.
I agree with what you say about that the time period and stuff. I really see the 70s as kind of like a reconstruction era after the 60s, because the 60s really just psychologically damaged us, and I think it really shows in this character who, you know, he was in the war and stuff like that, and when he comes back, he's got this like faulty wiring. Yeah. Who thinks that he needs to save everybody. He does. He's almost like an anti-hero. Yeah, he's been brainwashed. Yeah. I know I always got to relate shit to comic books, I'm sorry. But I think there's an issue of Before Watchmen that's interesting. Brian told me about it. I don't know if this is true because I've never seen it. But Rorschach goes into a cab one day and he's talking to the taxi driver about how he's disenfranchised with the world and how the world is becoming. Mm-hmm. And then it's revealed that the taxi driver is Travis Bickle. Oh. Yeah, so... It was kind of... There's like a similar conversation in the movie too. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That, I mean, I could see that. Doesn't Brian... I'm pretty sure he has all of the Watchmen anyway. Yes, so. He does, yeah. So he would know, I think. The philosophy of someone like Rorschach is very similar to Travis Bickle, so that's probably why they did it. It was really cool how Travis Bickle tried to, like... He was trying to look for the light in the dark of the world that was surrounding him. And it doesn't help that being a taxi driver, you see the worst of humanity all the time. You know, you're riding around the city at night and you're just seeing all this garbage happening. And he's trying to find a sense of normalcy with that woman.
With that woman. Yeah. I can't remember who plays her. But, that woman, and he's like, okay, the senator's maybe going to do something. The senator is going to, like, finally change the way things are. And then he realizes that, nope, that senator is just as corrupt and terrible as everyone else, Mm-hmm. And it's a really interesting, psychologically kind of character study on someone like that.
Yes.
So, mm-hmm.
Yes, took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah, not just a character study on Travis Bickle, but a character study on just society.
Yes.
At that time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's definitely like two characters in it. It's
yes,
the society.
City. Yeah, society is a huge character in that, and it's interesting how he takes Jodie Foster, who this is her first role ever. I didn't know that was Jodie Foster until after I watched that film, by the way, because she does not look... I mean, obviously she's 12, but she does not look like Jodie Foster, And it's interesting how he kind of like... He's like, I want to finally do something right, but it's like... it's interesting. It's vigilantism, basically.
Yeah, I really love the ending of this film.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely love it.
It's great. Mm-hmm.
So, your number 3.
My number 3 is Memento. I already talked about this film last time when we talked about the Mind F movies. It's... I don't even know. Well, I mean, I already explained everything I like about the film. It's told in a really creative format. It's told backwards and forwards at the same time. And eventually it all converges. It's definitely a neo-noir. It's kind of a gray area, but I feel like there's voiceover and there's black and white elements to it. Noir literally means like black and white. Mm-hmm. So, not that noir films have to be black and white, but, it helps. And it's really cool to see this guy kind of go through life having to, like, tattoo clues on him, and, like, he's trying to figure out this mystery while his memory is lost half the time.
Yeah.
So he has to, like, restart every day, and it's crazy. It's crazy. I don't really know what to say because I already talked about it to death the last time we talked about it. So
that's how I feel about a lot of these movies.
Yeah, that's right.
Not as much on this one. I feel like there's a lot of films on here that like I have not talked about.
Yeah. But Memento I have talked about.
Yeah.
And I'll just leave it at that. It's good. It's great. You should watch it. Christopher Nolan. Yeah. Speaking of Christopher Nolan, I had this thought yesterday. Sorry to change the subject a little bit. You like Dunkirk, right?
Yeah.
I like Dunkirk too. But you know what kind of bothered me about that film? You know how like it seemed really like, I don't want to say low budget, but it was interesting how... I mean, have you seen what Dunkirk looked like at that time? It was, like, destroyed. Mm. So it's weird how, like, it wasn't destroyed, like, at all in that film.
You mean, like, the beach?
Like, the beach, the town. Like, with the first shot when they're, like, walking through the town. Like, everything's, like, fine. Like,
maybe this is, like, before that.
Was it before that?
Maybe.
I don't know. Because have you ever seen Atonement or whatever?
Atonement, no.
Oh, okay.
I'm very familiar with that famous long take.
That famous long take at Dunkirk, and that's more what it was like than the Dunkirk. So I was wondering, I'm like, how come maybe they just didn't have the budget to literally destroy the beach and destroy the city? But
I'm sure he had the budget. I'm gonna be real. I'm sure.
Yeah, I was confused. I'm like, why did they make that choice? It was interesting.
I mean, like it wasn't. It's not like after.
It was a very minimalist film. Dunkirk,
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting storytelling in that one.
Yes. Yeah. So, anyway, yeah. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is, I don't really need to talk about it that much either, because I talked about them both. It's films that go hand in hand, because they're both Billy Wilder. That's Sunset Boulevard and Double Indemnity.
Yeah.
But for Sunset Boulevard, that film just has like kind of a special place in my heart because that was like the film that got me into film noir.
Yeah.
So it could have been really like anything else. I mean, Double Indemnity, if I had seen that one earlier, I probably would have liked that movie a lot more than Sunset Boulevard, but I kind of... I give the edge to Sunset Boulevard just because...
So Sunset Boulevard is your number 2? I thought you said that as
my number 3.
Or 3? I thought that was an honorable mention. Didn't you say Sunset Boulevard?
No. But you said that during Chinatown.
Oh, Chinatown. That's what it was. My bad.
Oh, yeah.
My bad. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, I've talked about it, so...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so you did your number 2 already.
So you can...
okay, I'm really sorry. Something tells me this is going to be your number 1, and I'm so sorry.
I doubt it.
You doubt it?
Yeah.
My number 2 is, like, probably, like, the most popular one ever, Casablanca.
Yeah, I don't... I don't really consider Casablanca a noir, though.
Really?
Really?
Everyone else seems to.
Yeah, I don't really consider it a noir. That's why it's not on my list.
Oh, okay.
I consider it more of like a romance.
I mean, it is. I see that film as like a very like inverted version of it. Like it's not like the femme fatale really just leaves this man as like an empty shell.
Yeah.
It's different than like they cause him physical harm.
Mm-hmm.
They've caused him like emotional harm, and that's made him this like character that he is today.
Yeah.
And he's got this really like rough exterior, but inside like he's doing something very admirable.
Yeah.
With it.
I just looked it up on Wikipedia because I was curious how they classified it, and they classify it as a romantic drama.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
yeah.
I did that for a lot of movies. This is again on the 1,000 noir list.
Okay, yeah.
They have a lot of stuff that maybe I don't consider, but I can see it. I can see an argument being made.
I can see that. Since I mean, I'm not like saying it's not you shouldn't use it or anything. I'm just I wouldn't consider it noir. That's why it's not my number one.
All right, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is gonna be interesting for my number one then, because my number one is also something that I really never even thought of until I saw it on the list. I'm like, oh, I gotta put it on there.
Okay.
So you know what? I feel like we've talked about Casablanca before. Yeah, so I think we're good on that. A little bit. I think we're good on that.
Yeah,
so
maybe a little bit.
I think you could.
Yeah, not that much.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It's not like we're Cinefix and we're talking about like The Mirror or something.
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
right. That's right. Well, this next film I could literally just say the name and nothing else because of how much we've talked about it.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So
My number one is Blade Runner.
Okay.
That's it. I'm not even gonna elaborate, dude. I'm not even gonna elaborate. How many times have we talked about Blade Runner?
Dude, Blade Runner. Yeah, I know. I get it. We do love that movie. Though.
Yeah, I can't. I'm not even gonna. Nope, just that Blade Runner.
Okay, well, this is a movie that I'm so glad that we did this list because I get to talk about it because I've never talked about it.
Okay, this is interesting.
So, this is a film that was recommended to me when I was in the Florida group and blew my fucking mind.
Yes.
And that is Shock Corridor.
Shock Corridor.
Do you know about this movie?
I've never even heard of this movie.
This movie is from Samuel Fuller, who is a very underrated American director. Mm-hmm. This premise, get this premise. Don't read it.
All right, I'm not reading it.
Look at me. This premise is so good. It's about a guy who is like a journalist, and he wants to win the Nobel Prize by solving a murder that happened a long time ago, and the primary suspect is in a mental asylum, and so he goes undercover in this mental asylum to solve this murder.
That sounds freaking awesome.
It's amazing.
That sounds dope.
I was not going to put this on here, even though it feels like a noir. It'd be like a late noir because it's like 63.
Yeah, I looked at the poster and it looked very 60s.
Yeah, it did not have to be in black and white, but it was definitely an aesthetic choice. Mm-hmm. This film is awesome. So you're dealing with the mental asylum thing. The acting in this thing is just really good. It's like it's kind of like what is that movie? One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Yeah. Kind of that like looseness and that the way Peter Breck walks around and stuff, it's like brings a new level of just like casual to a performance. Yeah. And this is a really interesting film, the way that they do exposition. Mm-hmm. First of all, he kind of stumbles around this asylum and kind of like looks through rooms to discover like new things, and everything is like exciting and mysterious. You never know what you're gonna find. Like he walks into one room, and this is like the coolest room in the entire movie. Yeah. So, but like it's like three girls that are dressed up like French New Wave, like the black and white stripes, and they're walking around him. They're like sirens, and they're doing this like weird like French New Wave like very minimal choreographed dance thing before like basically assaulting him. Okay. Like sexually. Wow. And it's like, what the fuck is happening? Yeah. Every room, it's like that kind of level of like what are you going to see next? What
Wow.
are they really going to do?
So there's like suspense there too.
There's definitely suspense, man.
That's awesome.
And then additionally, like there's some really good writing in these side characters. So a lot of these characters they really don't know what's going on because they've lost their marbles. But then they have like moments of clarity where they can like tell their story, like why they ended up here and stuff like that. And they're very, very sympathetic characters.
Huh.
And this is. It's just so good. It's definitely like a psychological thriller, and like the way that it's directed, it kind of feels like Inception, and how like the building kind of changes depending on the mental state of this character, as opposed to like the dream world or whatever. It's very dreamy, the qualities of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this character, the main character, he's an anti-hero character, I guess. I gotta recommend it to you. You gotta see it.
Yeah, I want to see it. It sounds amazing.
Yes.
All right.
So Shot Corridor.
Shot Corridor.
One of my favorite films.
Nice. Well, that's it, guys. Mm-hmm. That's it. Do you have anything, or
do I have anything as a
bookend, or?
Yeah, actually, I do. I don't know how we're going to get this to work, but we talked about Zombieland.
Oh, right.
Time to nut up or sup up.
That's great.